What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Replayer Podcast. I'm Dan, your host this week, and joining me is my co-host, Pagan.
Oh, hi!
And our replayer guests this week are Jack and Tom.
Hey, welcome
Hello there.
everybody.
Say
Nice
hi.
to have you guys.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and especially, not to make anything too crazy, but we have Tom on the show of replayer fame.
I wouldn't say that. I am middling at average.
I mean, if you listen back to our podcast a few weeks ago, you could hear me saying, like, who's this Tom guy?
You see, even my parents say that. It's great.
Yeah. Your whole life. Sitting at the dinner table, your parents are like, who are
Why
you
is this guy here again?
Sorry.
Can you tell us?
Our stuff.
I just keep staring.
Well, thank you both very much for joining us this week. We have a very awesome, excellent episode for our show this week. First off, we'd like to get to know our replayer guest on the show. Let's get a little bit of a background on each of you guys. Tell us your replayer journey, how you found the show, and what it means to you. And I'd like to start with Jack.
Hey, well, Retro Replay sort of came out good time because I'd just lost access to another TV show very similar to the format of Retro Replay.
Interesting.
So in the UK, we have this TV channel called Jinx TV, like a gaming channel. And on there, they had a show called The First Hour. Essentially, the concept of that show was a few people on a sofa playing video games, generally talking nonsense and messing about, which sounds a little bit familiar to now. I used to love that show. I'd watched that for like 3 years or something. But my TV provider decided they didn't want to keep the channel, and so I lost access to it. So I was really disappointed about that.
Oh.
I love the show. It's brilliant. But then it was like 2 weeks afterwards. I saw on Twitter Roy posted about this show he was doing with Nolan on YouTube, which was going to consist of the two of them on a sofa playing video games and talking nonsense, really. I was like,
what do you know?
Perfect. This is the ideal replacement. It's come at the right time. And of course, I was already a fan of Troy and Nolan's work anyway for a long time. So I was like, this is perfect. And I watched the first episode of Spider-Man, loved every minute of it. Although I was disappointed it was only 15 minutes. But you remember those days? 15, 20-minute episodes.
I miss those days.
This is not good.
Anyways.
But yeah, and I loved every minute of it, and I've watched nearly 3 episodes since. I can explain that if you want me to.
I was going to say, I was like, nearly?
Please tell.
My reasoning behind that is the VR episodes I've not watched. The reason for that is motion sickness. I'll play VR. I also can't watch people play VR. It's even worse. I tried watching one of the episodes, and Nolan was like, wow, this is amazing. And I was like, nope.
Swinging his head everywhere.
So I was like, immediately close the video. But apart from that, yeah, I've watched everything. Yeah, pretty much.
No.
But yeah, everything else, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, do you know if that show you used to watch was canceled, or was it just the channel got dropped?
It's just the channel got dropped. You can still watch it online. You can subscribe to it, whatever. But I was like, I've got Retro Replay now. I don't really need anything else.
Who needs you now?
Yeah, exactly. And this is better anyway. So
Fair enough.
I'm happy with this.
Awesome.
This is fine.
Been a fan of Troy and Nolan before you saw the show. You said that you were following Troy's Twitter before you seen the show. Cool.
Yeah, I've been ever since Uncharted, of course, with Nolan. And actually, that's the reason I wanted to get into VO work. Like playing the Uncharted games was the first time I ever really noticed the acting in games.
Yeah.
It was sort of when mocap was first coming in as part of the creation development of games, and so yeah, ever since then, that and The Last of Us, the 2 games, main inspirations for wanting to get into VO work. So yeah, I've always been a big fan of them since then.
I do say like the Uncharted, I had a similar thing, like where you started noticing acting and stuff, and it's more like the writing as well, where or maybe it's just Nolan. I don't know, like where he hit something and it hurts. And I hadn't played as a character where that actually, like, they felt it and they were like, oh, that really hurt, or oh crap when they did something wrong. I love that, or the sarcasm.
The thing that always spoke to me about the original Uncharted game when I first played it was the outer inner monologue of Nathan Drake. Then he was basically saying his thoughts out loud, and I will always remember and never forget the time when you're climbing on the outside of the castle the first time. You go through the window, then you go back out the window, and I remember thinking, wasn't I just out here? And then you hear Nathan Drake say, wasn't I just out here? And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
All right, so Tom, how about your replayer journey?
I guess it's not that weird.
I'm very curious to hear.
This is not that weird. I don't think anybody has ever started their replayer journey with that.
It's not that weird.
This is not that weird. Okay.
They did a video, like 2 videos or so a year or 2 ago with Watch Mojo.
Yes.
Where I just saw that, and it's like they react to their own list, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. Looked at that, saw that they were actually on a set, and I was like, oh, cool. I watched like 1 or 2 episodes, like, oh, that's interesting. And then it took me like another few weeks to start watching their stuff. And I just use it as like kind of background music. Just like, oh, this is interesting to listen to. But I think you're more interested in how I got to be an intern at Retro Replay.
You know what? Not at all. I'm actually more interested in how you found the show. Did you watch the show beforehand? Were you found with Troy and Nolan?
I knew of them both.
Okay.
Like I'm Nolan from Assassin's Creed and Troy from BioShock. I consider myself like a games enthusiast. Like I'm very much like up to date on like all the media and games news. So like I'll figure out who are like the voice actors just because I'm that kind of nerd.
Sure.
And so I just
we all are, by the way.
Literally.
Clearly.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's great. Mm-hmm. But that's just how I like knew of them. Then it's like, oh, they're making this cool show where it's more or less like a podcast setup where they play games. Like, awesome, listen to it.
You start that like those Watch Mojo videos. They come out for the Spider-Man one, or like had Spider-Man.
I do not know. I probably got in around when they were in level 2. Like
okay.
I was late to the party, let's say.
But you came to the party anyway, Tom. That's what matters.
We liked it before it was cool.
Yeah.
That's true.
That helps.
Real quick, Pagan, just make sure you're talking into your mic, because I was watching your audio levels drop when you talk.
Son of a bitch.
You're trying to look at me and talk.
That's true, actually.
She has a bad habit of that, actually.
I'm so sorry. Don't be mad at me.
So when people comment on our videos and say like the audio is choppy, it's usually because Pagan starts like getting away from her mic, and then her audio just drops
mid podcast.
She gets very animated, and now I remember the last time I had a beer on the podcast now, because I smacked it and almost like killed things.
That's right. I do remember this. Look, for future reference for podcasts, I can always go on a headset. That helps audio. I will go on a headset if that helps me, because I'm an animated person, okay? I like people. I want to talk to the people. I want to look at the people when I talk to them. I want to hang out.
And talk with an Indian accent?
Yes. I did.
Yes.
Hold up. I just put on a accent. I didn't put on a accent, an accent.
So I'm the racist.
That was you. That was all you, buddy. That's like.
Okay. All right. So now tell us about how you became an intern. Do it.
Oh, okay.
You might as well mention it.
I'm sure anyone listening to this is going to be like chomping at the bit and be like, why did you assholes not let him talk about being an intern?
So therefore, I just won't talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
Moving on.
It's classified.
No,
Keep him waiting, Tom.
It's more or less just like, I got lucky. It just came to a point where it's like I was moving out to LA for a semester there in LA, and I reached out to Retro Replay, and they were like, sure, why not?
Nice.
I didn't know that it was just a semester. I thought you were there for like
No,
Oh.
I'm based in Boston.
Eh.
Go to Emerson College. Talk about it a lot on Retro Replay because no one loves bringing it up.
Yep.
Uh, and there's a semester abroad in LA where it's
Right.
mostly you get internships.
Because that's abroad, all right.
It is very abroad, but it's only like seniors that go there, and it's like your last semester. So you go there and hopefully like get an internship to get a job. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'll work at Universal or work at Paramount or like all these other big things." I was originally going to work at the Groundlings, which is an improv comedy club, or just like comedy club. That was the backup.
Okay.
Thankfully, Retro Replay was like, "Yeah, sure, come in. We'll
course.
figure out something for you to do."
Very
That
cool.
was nice. But you're studying stage management. Did you tell me that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm studying stage and production management, which is very much a theater degree.
Yes.
So Red Bear very much was just like, "You're the only one who's ever like reached out for this. Sure, you can do it, and we'll teach you as much as you can." Because I do not know, like, I know film theory and I know like movies and games and everything like that. I do not really know like the in depth of how to film stuff, but now I do.
Okay.
Nice. So you got
And
to meet Roger
regarding,
Craig
like-
Smith, right?
That was like my third day on the job.
That's amazing.
Oh, really? The Sonic thing?
My first day was the Australian Wildlife Preserve live stream. That was my literal
You were
first
there?
day.
Wow.
I was the guy keeping
Wow.
track of like all the donations and everything. But I got to meet like that was at the Funhouse Studios, and I got to meet Liam, Dan, so many like other people. I was literally like a hand away from Cameron Moorman, the guy who plays
Yeah.
Joker.
Joker in Gotham.
Yeah, and in Jedi Fallen Order.
That must have
You
been
got
just like a full like
lucky.
first day, you know?
It was
The
crazy.
same. Yeah. You're like, oh hi, oh hi, oh hi, oh hi. Like I would freak out, be like, hello, yeah, you
Well,
made $30,000. How are you doing? How was Gotham? What's Jedi Fallen Order like?
Well,
What's
like,
that going on?
That was the same day I met like Troy and Nolan, and like Troy wasn't there for that long, but I was trying to like help out get it set up to like start in time. And all of a sudden, PJ like shouts, like, "Oh yeah, and that's Tom, the intern." And Troy turns around and just like, "Oh my God, you're working with us," and shakes my hand. And I was just kind of like, "Oh my God."
I think I remember seeing that moment on Troy's live feed on Instagram.
And I was just like, "Oh wow, I guess I wash this hand." And then I got to know him. I was like, "I'm going to wash my hands now."
Yeah, they nasty, Tom. Wash your hands.
Yeah, no, everyone
just
should
wash your
their
hands,
right
just
yeah,
in general.
Just in general.
That.
Yeah.
Especially right now.
Always wash your hands. Anyways,
That's cool.
how about we move on to our little guest questionnaire to get to know our
Okay.
replayers a little better. Do I have your approval, Pagan? Is that okay?
Okay.
Because you know how to do this, right? Okay. Anyways, we do have a few questions we'd like to ask our guests so that we can get to know you guys, and those out there listening can learn a little bit about our fellow replayers. Question number 1 is, do you consider yourself a gamer? Let's start with Tom on this one.
I consider myself, or I don't know where I am for you. I consider myself a gamer to the next level.
Gamer plus ultra?
Interesting.
Yes.
Gamer plus.
Gamer new game plus, please.
NG plus.
Yeah. No, I'd play anything I can get my hands on, basically.
Even if you don't like it, complete the game.
Oh, most of the time. Sometimes I'll just be like, I have no interest in the rest of this, and I'll put it down.
Like I have hope. If I start something,
Mhm.
I have hope to get better. Like a movie. I can't put it down.
I was just going to relate that to you talking about movies last week. And I consider myself similar. Like, I'll pick up something and start playing it. And unless it's really bad, or if it just completely loses my interest or bores me, I'll be like, yeah. It used to drive me nuts because as an Xbox person back in the day with achievements, if you play a game once and you don't get an achievement, you always have the 0 out of 1,000 gamer score. And that would drive me insane. But if it's 0, you can delete it from your score list. If you have 1 achievement, it's there permanently. And you're just looking at that one like, ugh.
I
Have
remember
you
when
ever gotten an
on
achievement where it's
PlayStation.
1 gamer star?
Yes, I have.
Oh, I hate that so
Those,
much.
I hate any any odd number gamer score is the worst thing in the world. Because then it makes
Except for
my
5.
overall gamer
5 is
score
good.
OCD much?
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Anyways, how about you, Jack? Do you consider yourself a gamer?
Absolutely. I've been a gamer since the PS1 was my first console. The original, like, massive grey PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
That my uncle gave 6, 7, I think. Weirdly, with a copy of the original Tomb Raider, which I probably wasn't.
I see.
It was T for teen, and back
Exactly.
then, like I think the ratings were like, eh.
Yeah,
It's,
we'll just
it's all
we'll just guess.
pointy, pixelated. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's fine.
It was pointy boobs, blocky body.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
The block blood. I love that. The pixelated blood spatter that didn't actually stain anything. Just great. Yeah. Top notch.
Little spurts.
But yeah, I think that was the first thing that I played that really got me into gaming. But nowadays, since then, I'm anything story based because of Tomb Raider. I think story based adventure games. I'm on them. you give me an adventure, I'm there. I'm going on it.
Yeah,
Which is
me
weird
too.
because I'm not
Going on an
adventurous in real
adventure.
life.
Yeah,
But
that's what I was thinking.
yeah,
too.
I can't help
love
it. You
that bit of
kind
The
of sound
Hobbit,
like
yeah.
Martin Freeman a little bit. So in my head, I just heard that I'm going on an adventure.
Okay, I mean, I can play
All
Bilbo
right.
in a VO. There we go. Dan's doing my first
Sorry,
job. There
that's
we
what
go.
I'm hearing right now. You just transformed into Bilbo.
He's not from the. I don't
He's
know how that
definitely not
works.
from the Midlands. He doesn't
He's
sound
from the
anything like
Shire.
Martin. No, not at all.
It's like
No,
just
not at
I
all.
just sound like generic British accent.
I was gonna
Dan.
say, I was like, I think that's just Dan being like, "Oh, you're British."
You're British, huh? All right.
You must sound like
Do you
the
know
Lord
the
of the Rings
Queen?
movies.
Cool.
Cheerio, Tata.
Oi. That's my go-to British. Oi.
Oi.
Anyways, next question is, do you have a preferred platform? And we'll start Jack, then Tom.
PlayStation. Always been
Of course.
PlayStation.
Squeak!
Yeah, I want
Yeah,
that
yeah,
fucking
the
board.
brand
Just
there
you're
at the
like,
back.
oh.
I had Xbox. Oh, I didn't have original Xbox, but I've played them that.
Mm.
I've always preferred just the exclusives on PlayStation. They've always been higher quality, I think. Not that I'm like a PlayStation fanboy or anything. I don't argue with people on Twitter. Oh, you suck. You know, it's
Were you one of those guys that tweeted at the guys of Horizon Zero Dawn like losing their mind because they're gonna port Horizon Zero Dawn to PC? Like, you're ruining everything.
Did you see the tweet of the guy who destroyed his entire like setup with just like, I guess I don't need this?
Yeah, that was absurd.
No, why?
Yeah, a guy
Why would you
destroyed.
lose your mind
like,
about that?
We're all gamers, right?
Yeah, just spread the
everyone should want-
story. Jeez. You
Yeah.
had it
Also, like,
first? Great. Now
It's
it's
also
going to go to
2
other
years
people.
after. Like, if you haven't finished it now, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
Listen, they just ported the frickin' Jedi Academy game to the Switch. That game is 15 years old. And they're treating it like it's a brand new game. Like, you can be a Jedi on Switch. Woo!
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, that's on PS4 as well, isn't it? I think.
I think so.
Yeah, I saw it. Like,
Yeah, they
up on
like
my
they
phone in the
reported
store
it.
or something. I was like, okay, like 20-year-old game or something.
Yeah. Made by Activision and Ravensoft, the guys who made the old Call of Duty games. Fun facts. Anyways, Tom, where's my whiteboard? Hang on.
Where am I? Oh,
Platform.
I'm very much, get ready for the scratch, an Xbox One S gamer.
Oh, one for Xbox.
Yeah, the only one.
Oh, wow.
It's
You've got a
me and
whole
you.
like 3 in
And
the
I
whole
think-
38 episodes. We're
Was
done.
it Ian? I could be I'm sorry if
I
I'm
feel like
misquoting
Ian.
whoever the other
I don't
Xbox
know.
player was.
Go back and find it.
Well, when I first started it, like one of the first games I got for my Xbox 360 was Halo 3, so I could play with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
That
Hell
was
yeah.
just
Nice.
such a great experience that I was like, well, might as well continue it. And the controller is just like, in my opinion, so much more comfortable.
100%. Fuck you, Pagan. 100%. That's for
I
me
hate
too.
that-
Like, my hands feel so much more comfortable in the Xbox controller as opposed to the PlayStation controller. My hands
I just think, though, that's because you guys have big hands.
I don't have that big.
PlayStation controller for me is fine.
We're all waving at
I don't like the...
Yeah.
They fixed it a little bit on the PlayStation 4 controller, but in the past, like the PS2 and the PS3 controller, the thumbsticks were like arranged in a way where your thumbs like touch together.
Yeah, that's true.
That used to drive me nuts. I
but
couldn't play like Killzone.
Xbox is better for like a shooting game or driving because you have the actual trigger to go down. Not
I would agree with that.
Piece of plastic.
And the PlayStation 3 to the PS4 also, they had the curved down triggers, and then they finally curved them up because on the PS2 and PS3, if you're holding it, if you're playing like a driving game where you got to hold the triggers, your fingers would slip off, and it was like, this is dumb. What I actually do.
Dan, do you have the Pro controller?
I did have a Pro controller. I don't have it anymore.
I also did. Mine broke. It got the sticky Joy-Con.
Oh, really?
And it was one of the saddest days because it was so like great to hold, and it was
love the grippiness.
Yeah,
the weight and the grippiness to it was my favorite thing. And then they added the grippiness to the new controllers now. They're not as grippy as the Pro, but they still kind of have that texturized feel to them, so that it's a little stickier on your hands. The one thing I did with my Pro controller more than anything was play with the thumbsticks, because you could pull them off.
I did that.
And they would magnetically snap back on.
I think that's how I broke mine.
And then I would like freak my friends out by like ripping them off and be like, "Oh, it broke," and they'd be like, "Oh shit, what happened?" Anyways,
Jack are just like,
just like
Xboxers. Ugh.
Oh, and you guys last week
we invited these guys. I mean, come on.
That's true. Last week we did have a good chat. So
I've been listening to the PlayStation nonsense for months.
I know. Also, it's not nonsense. I'll have you know.
Fact.
If you look at the two like UIs for like Xbox and PlayStation, Xbox just makes more sense.
Oh, we get this all the time about the UIs. No, I actually prefer the user interface on PlayStation. 100%
if you go back to episode like 10 of our podcast, I go on an entire tangent. It was an unpopular opinion. I talked about the UI of the PlayStation 4 being terrible.
It's not unpopular because I agree.
It is so bad.
And I will say, I made the guys play on Xbox for Half-Life.
Nice.
Just to like, that was the only way I could figure out how to get Half-Life through like the orange box.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was wondering about that. I'm like, they must be playing on the orange box when I saw them playing Xbox. So like, good on you, Tom, sir. Anyways.
Tom, sir.
Tell me how. You do not want me doing fake British accents. Anyways. Do you have a favorite video game? And I know that's a really tough question. You can generalize, or you can say a franchise. You can give us a few if you like.
Yeah, go for it.
I was hoping you were going to start.
On the spot now.
Wow. Yeah, that really is on the spot. I think probably.
If you need to think, I can go.
I think probably Tomb Raider that I mentioned earlier. That would probably be my favorite game ever because of what it started. It started my love of gaming, and of that kind of style of game as well. But I think of more recent times, of course, would be a game called Red Faction Guerrilla.
Oh, nice.
Actually, a game that Troy was in, which I didn't realize until I played the remaster. I didn't realize when he was in it originally, but I played the remaster and I was like, this is nice, so familiar. And I saw it at the end of the credits and I was like, Troy Baker. I was like, oh wow, I never even knew that. But yeah, I think that probably recent times, Red Faction Guerrilla. Or let's throw another one in, Burnout Paradise.
Burnout?
Heard of any of these games other than Tomb Raider?
Of all the Burnout games, Burnout Paradise. Okay.
I know that's probably mixed opinions about that, but I prefer the open world driving games. And also,
have you played Burnout 3? Because Burnout 3 was fucking amazing.
Burnout 3 was good. It was good. I'll give you that. But I don't know. I loved the online with Burnout Paradise. You know, when you did all the challenges and everything. Races I wasn't that fussed about, but doing all the challenges was so much fun.
That studio in general made great games, and then they made like the best Need for Speed game, and then EA was like, we're gonna just go with the worst ones.
Yeah, pretty much.
Googling them. I don't know what we're talking about, but a driving game, that sounds fun.
So 5 minutes from now, Pagan's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, so Burnout, that came out in 2008, and I'm just making
Pagan's
shit
like
up.
Drew.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes, no.
Tick, tick, tick. So Tom, did you have one?
It's a mix between two-ish.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
the Assassin's Creed 2 or the Ezio trilogy and Arkham City.
Okay.
Arkham City, really?
Mhm.
Out of the Arkham games, Arkham City.
Arkham City is definitely, I would say, the best of the four.
I've
It's
not
just-
played it just yet. I think I've only played Asylum, but there's a Batmobile in Arkham City.
Arkham Knight is
Yeah,
the
Knight
third
has the Batmobile.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
It's weird.
Yeah,
It
sorry.
goes like in terms of the whole franchise, which I love. Arkham Asylum sets the like great groundwork. Then Arkham City just builds on that and gives it an open world type thing. And then
Okay.
Arkham Origins, which is just more Arkham City, so it's like kind of the same but less. And then Arkham Knight, they had the Batmobile, they had like better combat, but then they used too much of the Batmobile, so it was
Yeah.
like not as good, probably the same as like Arkham Asylum, but just too much.
Right, okay. Cool. So Arkham Asylum or the Ezio trilogy?
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed?
Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations are some of my favorite games. It was like one of the first open world, like AAA games I really got into. So it was cool that I met Roger Craig Smith.
There you go. I
Just, like,
personally like
Die
I
inside,
didn't.
be like, hello.
I liked
Stop.
Assassin's Creed 2, but I wasn't a fan of the follow-ups, the Brotherhood and I forget
Revelations.
Revelations.
Because I got tired of Ezio's story at that point,
Really?
and I actually really
Really?
enjoyed 1. I don't know why. I'm the weirdo who likes Assassin's Creed 1,
I liked one.
and I think
One was
1
a
is
good game.
the best game in my opinion of the original, like I would say trilogy. Let's say 1, 2, and 3, not including like the add-ons and DLCs and whatnot.
Well, 3 is just a completely different game.
Yeah. And then 4, I think, did its own thing, and I thought 4 was pretty good. I like being a pirate in that game. And then it's like, okay, now Assassin's Creed is completely different. But I missed in the original Assassin's Creed, I thought was more of the kind of like a Hitman game, where it's like, here's your target, stalk your target, learn about them, find their weakness, and then exploit that weakness to murder them. And I felt the further into the series you got, the less of that you did. And I know you did, but it felt different, and I didn't like it as much.
They did a lot to like try to bring that back in Assassin's Creed Unity, where they give you like a sandbox and it's like, oh, figure out like where you can do to get that. But I think like the best part about Assassin's Creed was the traversal, and also like they tried to do it for a while, but more or less historically accurate, where it's like this person was here in this time.
Yeah,
this is what it would have looked like around that.
I did like that about the original games.
And it's like you hung out with Leonardo da Vinci, which was awesome. You got to be like, oh, here's some of the sketches. I wonder whatever happened to them, and then you use them. It fits like it. Well, I guess for like my young mind, it's like it fits so well. It's so great.
Wow, this is historically accurate.
And then there's aliens or something.
Why is it like this in school?
Yeah, exactly. And then there was like another just an entire different plot of like what Desmond was doing in like the present day. It just had so many different layers, or it just like kind of engulfed. And now, unfortunately, like they either dropped it completely or just went in a different direction because they wanted to just stop making them. They were supposed to only make 3. Like after the 3rd one, that was going to be it.
Oh.
But it was making a lot of money, and then they made 4, which is one of the best games.
Sure.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
That's what happens.
That's one thing I'm glad about with the Uncharted game. Even though they sold so well, they could make one of them make a whole load of money. They're actually stopping. I think that's a good way, because otherwise you're going to end up getting sort of sick of the series.
Well, look. Are they?
Maybe Bob's Fortune is in development.
Yeah. Is there a definitive stop? Could there be potential for a Cassie Uncharted series.
I mean, I would play another with Chloe as the lead. I really enjoyed the Lost Legacy.
Oh yeah, same. Me too.
I think she makes a really good lead character, so I'd be happy with that as well.
Agree.
I mean, I think there is still room for like a Nathan Drake story just after the event of 4, because there is
Really?
that time period of like where Cassie is born.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they could do like a, I don't know, like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade type deal where they have to go save Sam or something like that.
Yeah, okay, I get it. I think there definitely is room to expand. I don't think anybody's been like, hey, you know that Uncharted show? It's capped. We're done. We're moving on. Whereas, like, we've had this discussion before. It's like, hey, Naughty Dog, do you like money? Yes? Great. Let's put out another Uncharted game. All right, cool.
To be honest, we prefer another game than a movie, right?
100%. I think that movie just got canceled.
Or postponed again.
Yeah, it's
Postponed again?
like
Definitely.
everything else these days.
Yeah, like
yeah.
just stop, just drop it.
Yeah, just
Don't.
let it go.
I'm home
Make an
for
HBO series instead.
Yeah, like unless there was some crazy plot with Sony and whatever to be like, oh, we're gonna make a movie and then that'll open up the door to make a new Uncharted game. Like, no, that's not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Just make a game. That's all you need to do.
Yeah.
They make the Uncharted movie the game.
Oh my god, that sounds awful. Anywho, next question we have for you guys is, what games are you looking forward to this year? Which is becoming a difficult question now. We normally say you can't say The Last of Us, but you really can't say The Last of Us now because, spoiler alert, that game got postponed indefinitely. That might have been a little bit of news for later, but it kind of fits right now.
That's a little tease.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is there any games that we know of that are coming out in the next year or so that you're like, I can't wait to play that game? And we'll start with Tom on that one.
Short-term Final Fantasy VII Remake. I never played the original one. So
Okay.
this is perfect time. The first Final Fantasy I played, which is sad to say, was 15, which I thought was fun. So this looks more of an action RPG. So I'm excited.
Well,
and
15 was regarded as much like an action RPG as well.
Yeah, it was just more like, it was dumbed down compared to what
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII is going.
Yeah.
Because you just held one button to attack, and then you just kind of put the controller down.
Yeah.
Adam is playing it.
15.
No, on Final Fantasy VII.
You know, I'm happy that they put it out early.
I was going to say it got released over there already.
People got it early.
We got released early, and it was kind of like a touch and go because he'd ordered it with GameStop, the actual shop itself. So he couldn't. So they were like, "What do we do? Do we order Amazon now? Like, I'm not going to get this game. We don't know how long this will go on." And GameStop reached out and was like, "We're going to send you it in the post, and we have the games now." So it's like whatever, 5 days early or whatever. So they're like, "Yeah, just send it out. You can't put it up online, anything but right." So
No
Adam's sitting there
spoilers.
like practically fucking crying.
Is he in the other room right now? Like you could hear like Cloud like, wow.
No, he's on the phone to friends right now, but he's been playing it all day.
Mm.
Like he's been on that thing for about 6 hours. It's adorable, but
You can't do anything else at the moment, so you can't really blame him.
That's true. That's true. Was there another game that you were gonna look forward to, Tom? Or is that just it?
In terms of like long span Avengers, just because I'm interested in what it could be. But also I was like really waiting for E3 just because there was going to be a lot of games announced, especially like the new Arkham Asylum game or Arkham game.
Yeah, whatever the new Arkham game is.
But I guess we'll see if people actually put on some sort of like Nintendo Treehouse Direct thing, or
I know I recently saw the interview with Mark Spencer. No, yeah, I can't think. The guy from Xbox.
Insert name here.
Phil Spencer.
Oh, Phil Spencer.
Phil Spencer. He did an interview with IGN recently talking about what Xbox is doing now with coronavirus and E3 being canceled, and he said that their focus going forward will definitely be games now, since they've already announced the Xbox Series X. So come May timeframe, around when, May, June, around when E3 would happen, we're going to get a bunch of Xbox Series X news. So there's probably going to be a lot of new games to talk about in the next few weeks. And it's just going to be like an explosion of all these new IPs and new products that we didn't even know existed until now. That'll be fun.
That's the hope.
That would be good.
Yeah. That's the hope. So how about you, Jack? Anything you're looking forward to?
The one that's nearest is, or well, hopefully nearest, Ghost of Tsushima,
Yes.
Sucker Punch.
Mm-hmm.
Love their games. All ever since like the Sly Raccoon games. Ghost of Tsushima looks footage at 3. I don't know if that was actual gameplay or whether it was made to look better or whatever, but it looked amazing graphically. I'm really looking forward to that. I think also the other one, like Tom, I think Avengers. I think that's got a good potential for like the multiplayer side of things. Because I play a lot of like Destiny
Mm-hmm.
friends
Okay.
or whatever, like the co-op and stuff. Avengers seems to be like it's going to be the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to that. Because like with Destiny 2, you got like the end game content, and you can just go on and on and on playing that, and that's the kind of thing that I love nowadays to play with friends. So yeah, Avengers would be a big one for me.
I definitely think that's the thing they're going for with Avengers, being made by the Tomb Raider team. Honestly, actually,
Yeah, true.
they're trying to make a Destiny-like online experience. I don't know if it's going to be just like Destiny, but it's going to be along
Oh,
those.
it's going to be online multiplayer.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know where I've been sleeping, but yeah, I didn't know it was going to be online multiplayer.
yeah. That's
The
like
thing
the
is,
whole
they
thing is
haven't,
that
like-
you group up with friends and you pick your favorite superhero and you play together to mash your way through the levels and whatnot.
Well, they've been going back and forth through that. They've been saying it's like, oh, here's a single player experience, which you can do,
Mhm.
and then also these things which you can play with 3 other friends,
True.
like an instance event. So it's a weird, like when they first announced it, there's like, oh, it'll be this massively multiplayer event, which it will keep adding on. And a lot of people are like, why didn't you just make Spider-Man again?
Yeah.
And then it got delayed, and I assume it's going to be more like, well, we got to add more like single player stuff. I had a feeling it would be more like when they first set out, I was like, you're going to pick a character, you're going to go into missions, then you're going to get out of that mission, you're going to have loot, customize that character again, and then go back in. This,
Right.
Like with their recent trailers, it looks more like there'll be a hub world where you're working as Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, as like the player character, and then you'll get to choose like Iron Man, Hulk, or anyone like that to go into those different missions.
Well, there you go. I didn't. I'm excited for that game though. Anyway, it looks really good.
Yeah, it's definitely on it's on my like wait and see kind of list. Like I'm really hopeful for it, and I think it'll be a good time if it works out the way we want it to.
Well, it's going to be a while till we can see.
Yeah.
A long wait and see.
At least I know if I buy it for Xbox, I'll be able to play it on my Xbox One X and the Series X when it comes out. Suck
Sure.
at PlayStation.
Okay,
they're probably going to do the
I
same
will
thing.
give
I'm
you
kidding.
that. I will give it to you.
I'm sure PlayStation's
see about
going to try to do
PlayStation
the same thing. Like they're going to have.
It has to. I mean, like Xbox Series X had their little announcement about like the components of the thing, and then PlayStation had their announcement, and it was like,
Yeah.
like such a snooze fest. Sorry, like it just was. It as much as like we were all excited about it, I couldn't watch it. Like I'm gonna look at this up later. But it seems like Xbox is winning that race. So like PlayStations have got to step up. They have to step. Now it's gonna be backwards compatible
Microsoft
as
is
well
going to be
for
coming
Xbox
out the
One.
gate swinging hard this generation.
And it even seems like they're pairing up with like Cyberpunk, which is another game I'm excited for. Where they came out and it's like, you should never like buy a game twice. If you get it once, you'll be able to play it on whatever.
Yeah.
Saw that. So I'm gonna give it to you with Xbox because I think this generation, X and PS5, I actually think Xbox is edging out.
I think Microsoft learned their lesson real good from the Xbox One launch. Like they learned hard what not to do essentially, and give PlayStation that commanding lead that they've had.
Well, that's all Phil Spencer. Like he got hired on after, and it was just like he's been playing catch up and has been doing really well.
Yeah.
Ever since.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
For sure.
Got to get all those catchphrases in. Lastly, the question we have for you is, what game would you like to see the guys play? And hopefully I'm not going to put you too much on the spot, Jack. Do you have anything that you'd like to see the guys play on the Retro Replay show? And I feel like this is going to be an interesting question for Tom to answer. Maybe,
as
maybe
in
not.
just a regular show or like a proper playthrough?
You can pick anything.
Whichever
we
you feel. You
prefer
can do
a
both
retro
if you
one,
want.
but yeah,
The retro
go
one.
for it.
Oh, now you're on the spot with these questions. Not really.
Why
I
you're
should have
here, Jack.
thought this
Surprise!
through. I really should have thought this through. Researched in my head. Retro.
I mean, I feel like there's an easy answer for you.
Even if there isn't like a retro game that you don't want them to
Good
play,
point,
like if it's a
actually.
more,
That is a good point. Yeah, Tomb Raider.
There we go.
Go to Tom. I'm thinking about it.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
It's a weird question for me because there's a lot of games I want to play because I test the games before they come in and record.
Right.
So there's like a lot of things like I shall selfishly like maybe I'll just get to sit down and play this while I work.
So I wondered that because they mentioned you when they played Another World, and they said that you commented on that game, and I was like, oh, okay, so Tom must have played this before they did.
Yeah, that was in the tidbits. I very much like
Titty bits.
Yeah.
So cute.
Sometimes like I have Drew like look over everything that I write for the tidbits. Sometimes I'll put stuff in there to see if I catch him. He did not catch that.
Nice. So do you get to play? Say like if they're gonna be like, okay, this is the next whatever episode, and we need to get content in. Do you like have to test every game, or do you be like, okay, well, this game plays really well, this game does. Like here, you can go choose. Is that like what you meant?
It's more in the fact it's like we're recording these episodes. I'm going to play an app, the game, and then I'm going to use this game to like help write more of the script.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
That's a little peek behind the curtain.
Little peek, just a
teeny
little.
One.
But in terms of games I would want them to see them play, is probably Tales, just because I like that game.
That's a good one.
Cool.
Good one.
I think that very well fits the retro replay theme of we want to watch them play a retro game. We want to be able to have an episode where they're having a good time, they're having fun, and there's a very good chance someone's going to get mad.
Yeah.
The rage quit ones are the best.
Exactly, yeah.
Good answer. You know how that one before.
I just thought of Portal games. Imagine them imagine Nolan would get really annoyed trying to solve puzzles. It's a good thing. I like seeing Nolan gradually lose his sanity. Do you remember the old Burger Time?
Burger Time, yes, it's one of my favorite episodes.
He gets super into those puzzle games.
So good, so good.
And he's like losing his mind. And so I would love to see anything Portal based because I got really annoyed with puzzles.
I mean, Tom here just had them on the orange box. They could just pop into Portal right from there.
Exactly.
I've had the thought of just like, what if I was able to get them to play Portal 2 and do the co-op with that? That would be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Well, we mentioned this not too long ago. We had another guest on, and I kind of threw Portal out there, and they were like, yeah, Portal. And I was talking about the co-op, and like it'd be cool to watch them play the Portal 2 co-op. Especially because that game itself is just funny, and it would be entertaining.
Yeah.
Like when they're talking about playthroughs, I know a lot of people in the comments keep talking about A Way Out. Prison Break game that came out.
Oh, I don't know about this game.
Yeah, it's basically a 2-player co-op where you complete tasks to try and get out of this prison. I played it with a friend of mine. It's brilliant.
I've heard it's an amazing game. Never played it myself.
Perfect for those two on a playthrough. Because imagine it'd be funny as well with them doing the voices a lot of the time, creating characters. So I think around to doing a playthrough.
I'm still waiting on them to play Ikari Warriors for the NES.
Okay. I feel like you mentioned that the first episode or something, didn't you?
I did.
Ikari Warriors.
Yeah.
Get around to it. They're slowly getting through all of our episodes.
I tweeted at them or commented in one of the YouTube chats, like just a YouTube post way back when I started watching the show, like play Ikari Warriors, and I don't know if that'll ever happen.
You
don't know.
Yeah,
you don't know. Like they could do it.
Drew.
You need to comment on every single episode because wasn't that Blasto?
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, and Drew was like, "There's a guy who's been commenting on every single episode, and that's why we're playing it now."
Yeah, that's true.
Finally shut him up or whatever.
I mean, They did finally.
Stop commenting. No.
I'm gonna wait on that. Hang on. Anyways, I'm gonna hold off on my comment I was about to say.
Oh, okay.
I'll save that. So we covered that. We got DuckTales, I will say, is a good answer. I would like to see them play the original DuckTales. And of course, Portal, I think, would be fantastic. So, before we move on to our general discussion of the show that we normally do, we got a very special message we'd like to share with everybody out there from the one and only Drew Lewis.
Pagan, Dan, Drew Lewis here. Yes, the Retro Replay Drew Lewis, the soupiest man on earth. I wanted to leave you guys a little voicemail saying thank you. Thank you so much for creating Replayer Podcast. It's truly amazing. I love getting to know all the different replayers, from where they come from, how they met, how they found the show, why they love the show. It's really cool. I don't have anything else to say other than thank you guys. Thank you. Continue good work and keep giving Troy and Nolan shit for sucking at video games. You have no idea how painful that is sometimes. Yeah. Okay. Talk soon. Bye.
Now I know my boss will see this.
Yeah. Thank you, Drew. Thank you so much for
I'm now
that.
regretting everything I've said.
No, don't. You know what hit me though? We were having dinner and I was like, check the email. Like we have a voicemail. I was like, okay, that's so cool. Then I got back to the dinner after listening to that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so great. And then I was like, God, actually listens to the show. And the amount of times
that we've
gone,
like called
Drew,
him out.
Excuse me, Drew. Listen, Drew, let's have a chat. Drew. The amount of times we've done that through the whole series, I'm like, oh, poor Drew's gonna be like driving somewhere and just be like, Drew, come through his radio. Like, what?
Like,
so
I'm sure there's
I do
been times
apologize.
where he's just been like, shut up, Pagan.
Sorry, Drew. Love you, buddy.
Well,
So yeah.
I will say I do miss that sultry voice.
Sultry.
Got a good voice.
Yeah.
More often on their show.
I am so happy to get affirmation for all the shit that I give Troy specifically and Nolan. But like for Drew to say like thank you for giving them shit for sucking, I'm like, yes.
To be fair, they're still probably better than I am. So I can't say much. But it is funny to watch. It's entertaining.
It can be fun to watch people suck at video games. I mean, that's kind of why we're here, isn't it?
If they were good at games, this show would not be anywhere near as good.
No.
That's true. That's actually, yeah, very true.
It's kind of, like I said, it's the point. Like, if they were just good at the game, it'd be like, what? Huh? Oh, okay. Yeah, they're still killing things or they're still beating the level. All right. Oh.
Well, it's what Troy says. It's so cliche now, but it's not about the game. It's about the hang.
Oh, Tom
Oh, yeah.
with the little retro replay quote.
As I
And we've
wear all
said
my
that
retro replay
many
merch.
times on the show.
Yeah. Oh, aren't you advertising the wrong show?
I'm just trying to get recognition.
See me.
See me.
Well,
Well,
me
your
and
boss is
Pagan
gonna
got
see
our
this, so-
recognition.
Yeah.
Because he,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, Drew still hasn't called me out either, which I still think is funny.
really?
Yeah.
I like your callouts during the show though. When they just take the mick out of you and they're just like, who is that guy? Like, where is he from again? Or when you walked across the screen and like 2 episodes
That
ago.
was a mistake, but yes.
That was hilarious. And he's like, don't cut it out. Let him walk across the screen. Oh, it was great. So good. Thought it was great. Your little cameo
you.
was perfect. Singing happy birthday, but we'll get on to that.
We'll get to that. But first, I wanted to say, like, thank you. We finally got a voice message. We've been, like, begging for voice messages. And no shit, we get one from Drew, of all people.
The only voice messages we've ever had was one from Greg and one from my mother.
We had 2 from Greg.
And now, yeah, 2 from Greg.
Because Greg
One
is
from
Greg.
my mother and from. That was super great. Thank you. Listening, Drew.
Now everybody else can eat it. Because now all the other replayers are going to listen to this and be like, oh, Drew sent them a message and we didn't? That's right. You better get on it.
This is when you close the voicemails completely.
It's done.
Had them flooding in. I think that, but then like next week it's just crickets. Where are all these voices?
But now you wouldn't know. Just get rid of it.
We'll
Yeah,
never know.
that's a good point. Avoid the disappointment altogether. Just delete it.
Absolutely.
And that's how we end the show, folks. It's been a lovely run.
Good night. All right, so now moving on to the content of this week. We, of course, got another new Uncle Noli, which are always my favorite things to watch. And as of now that I bring it up, I don't remember anything from it.
Oh no! You know
I
what?
just
This
laugh.
happens all the time because we watched a little episode. It's only 7 minutes long, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that was hilarious." And then like 3 or 4 days later, we do this podcast, and we're like,
What happened?
Yeah, what
was it
happened?
talking about?
Honestly, it's sticking
cleverly,
in my mind
Pagan
for
rewatched the
me.
episode just podcast.
I tried to do that. I tried to rewatch them real quick just to have them fresh in my memory, and I was not able to today.
There wasn't any spit out my coffee moments in this. Definitely was last week. I think like
Mm.
the whole like friends don't let friends not shit themselves. That segment last week, I died. I almost died as hard as when they're the Terminator or the RoboCop episode where they're like, shit that kid out the window. I was like,
Yeah.
I died and a half. But there wasn't any of those like spit out coffee moments. Still
I
Good
always
one.
spammed that sound effect a little too much in our first few episodes back in the day when I was just like, soundbite, soundbite, soundbite.
look at our soundboard. We have a soundboard now. Here's Troy.
Shit that kid out the window. The only thing I
And-
can remember from
Nolan
this Uncle
impression?
Noli for some reason was the fact that it just ended and he didn't do a sign off like normal.
I think they
Uh,
clipped it.
The last 2 episodes have done that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like instead of him being like,
Strange.
hey, send us your questions and I'll answer them best I can, it was just kind of like, bloop, to the amazing
okay,
little
bye.
Uncle Noli theme song.
So
I'd
I think
imagine
I
they
think you got
do.
the point.
Yeah, we
I
get it
feel
now.
like I feel like they might like do 30 minutes 50 minute episodes and be like, cool, see you next recording.
Yeah.
Good
In all
maybe.
fairness, there was
I don't know.
crap we used to do on this
Probably.
podcast that we stopped doing after a while too, so
For that.
it's about a shame, I
Um,
guess.
The first one though, the very first one, like the guilty pleasure one, I actually really enjoyed that one because he was like Food Network, and I was like,
Mm.
that's me. I love watching Food Network. I loved watching Ina Garten, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then it got to a point where he was like, yeah, like when that meat sweats and everything, and
The
I was
meat
like,
sweats.
stop, Nolan, stop. Like making it into porn. He's like, get naked, watch Food Network. I'm like,
The meat sweats.
no, don't do that. Don't ruin Food Network for me.
Can't stop them.
I can't help but do
Not
like
stop.
Uncle Noli when I do my own streams now too. Like it's like a bad habit where like I was playing the new Resident Evil 3 and there was these awful things on the wall and I was like, oh, look at the wall anuses, and I was like, avoid the wall anuses, kids, you know. They're never good.
I started doing that with my friends, but they've got no idea what the reference is.
Yeah.
So I just look like a complete madman
They're
doing
like,
this.
what the
Is
hell
your
is
nose
this?
itchy or something?
The times we're in and all that. Whole pandemic thing. It's nice to just get like this small little bit of content that would crack. It's
Again-
just like it's all around just
The bite-sized Noli, it's all for me. I like the bite-sized Noli. My favorite bits.
It's one
Sorry.
of my favorite things, just because like a way to like quickly interact with like the actual audience and community with like questions or a Q&A basically,
Mhm.
but with like a spin on it. Like obviously going back to Funhouse, they have Open House, which is very much like a similar thing where they do that and then do a bit off of it. So this is just that, but with no one giving insane advice.
you crack up.
We all do.
Yeah, I feel like I would not be able to stay in the room.
It is
Yeah,
so unbelievably funny.
Tom can give us some insight into that. Like we talked about the first episode, and I think it was the second or first episode where we're saying like Drew must be pissing himself off camera, and
Probably all the time.
yeah,
It is one of like the funniest experiences, just sitting there as Nolan's just going crazy.
just batshit crazy Nolan.
Oh, actually, I will ask this. I don't know actually if this has ever happened, and you can choose not to answer if you don't want to. Has there ever been something that he has said, and then Drew would be like, "You can't use that. Like, we can't put that on screen." I presume there's actually no limit for Nolan, but has there ever been a moment where like Drew's like, We can't use that. We just can't use that.
I will say it's like we'll record anything. If anything, it'll get on the cutting room floor.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So Stephanie will look at it and be like,
There's I've been in the vicinity of many conversations where Nolan looks at Stephanie after recording. It's like, that made it through.
actually, that's fair.
Which I will say, this is a shout out to Stephanie. Love the edits, and I can tell every time like a cutaway is Stephanie's. Like last week's the Sweeney Todd one. I was watching.
I know. I lost my mind at that. It was so good. And Pink. So what? You're still a rock star? I was like, this is Stephanie. It's all her.
That's cool that you can recognize the edits, like who did them. Or
if you watch it long enough, you can like figure out, and it's like, oh, this matches this personality, or like this person's.
I actually do think so, because I noticed that. I was like, I don't think they would have got that. And then when we did find out, obviously, that it was Stephanie that was editing and everything, and you're noticing when she comes on the show, like, you can see what a Troy edit looks like. Troy has these obscure references from the 80s or 90s that nobody realizes or nobody recognizes. And Stephanie's got to go look that up somewhere. But when they did Sweeney Todd, I was like, oh, that's cool. Musical theater. And
well, it surprised me as well, because like there's no one. I'm a big like musical theater fan as well. Thanks for the theater degree. But it's weird to just sit around. It's like, none of these guys would ever think of that.
Yeah. So I like that one. And the Pink at the end, I was like, nah, this is definitely. It feels like a flare from Stephanie. Maybe a woman, but just in general. Like.
But who knows? It could have been Drew.
Who knows? If it was Drew, I do apologize.
Drew, send us another voice message.
That's also great. Can you confirm or deny? Like,
answer that question.
No, that's cool. Yeah, the tidbits are pretty good. Jack, how do you feel about the tidbits? Little Uncle Noli's.
Okay. Yeah, I love them because retro replay for me as well is a form of escapism. Week episodes come on and waves off. So all those bits as well in between gives you something else, like a mid-week little tidbit of retro replay before you get to the main event at the end, right? I think during the time that we're in now, we all need to pick up whenever you can. So yeah, I'm especially the Uncle Noah bits. That's one of my favorite parts of the show anyway. The favorite of the running gags.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the week.
Well,
damn it! I was hoping to get somebody that hates the Uncle Noli just so we can be like, what? Everybody loves Noli.
Yeah, some popular opinion. Like, no, I hate it. Let's move on.
They suck.
Who can? It's just Nolan.
That's what I love about those bits, because it's just like Nolan at his finest, basically. It's
just improv. Crazy. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Show anywho. Whoa, I'm gonna get attacked by my pop filter. Hi. There we go. Anywho, moving on. This is I can do a little roll into, like we were talking about retro games. They finally played one of the other games I've been hoping for them to play for the longest time. I expected they were going to play Resident Evil 1, but they played Resident Evil 2. And if you didn't know already, I'm a Resident Evil 2 fanatic. It's one of my favorite games of all time. Yay. I was very much looking forward to this, and I was very happy. And we got a special treat. Tom sings in that episode.
Oh.
Yay! Tom sings in that episode.
Tom sings "Happy Birthday" to Troy, and then is promptly told to go back to his hole.
I'm always like, I didn't say touch him. Go back. I was like, oh.
I very much will never and have not watched the beginning of that episode. I cannot listen to myself sing.
To be fair, if that was me, I would be the same. I hate watching myself back.
So you've never watched any of your own Instagram videos back, Pagan, when you're singing? Liar.
I actually don't. For real, I don't. If you can see me in it, no. If I can hear it, not so much. But I've had to get used to it. I have to force to get myself used to it because self-tape. Self-tape for auditions. Edit those fucking. Yes. And I'm telling you, 30 fucking of the one scene, find the best one. doing like different, trying this, trying that, or making sure the audio's better and the light better, or whatever. Trying to have to get used. I hate myself. Looking at myself back, I'm like,
hate myself.
God, how am I ever going to get cast in anything? Jesus. But I send them off anyway.
Pagan, do you have a go-to scene?
Yeah. No, they send me the script.
I see. Do you have a go-to monologue for a?
No. Back in the day, it used to be like probably from like Hamlet, where talking about the flowers. Kind of lost her mind a little. I wouldn't be able to recite it for you now. There was another scene actually, and I have no idea what play it was from. I can't think of it right now, but it was from like a play about Peter Pan, and the audience having
Peter Pan.
No, it was definitely it had to do with like fairies and believing in fairies, and it starts out as this very positive moment. Towards the end, it gets really shit and realistic about life in general, and I loved that. That was one of my favorite pieces. I can't think of it right now, but if I do, I'll send it to Dan and he'll pop in the description for anybody.
Sure.
This has nothing to do with video games. I was just
nothing to do with video games. This is just me and Tom popping off about theater.
We go on our random tangents. I had it where back in the day, like long before I ever even really considered trying to get into acting, I used to practice the probably if I looked at it now, I'd probably hate it, but the monologue of Ted Mosby from the first episode of How I Met Your Mother, talking to Robin and like confessing his love to her. I don't know why, but I was really into that show and I liked that monologue. And this was way back in the day, like man, a while ago. But now I'm like legit getting into trying to like acting and stuff. And I did a monologue from Back to the Future not too long ago. That was fun.
I got it. It's actually it's a monologue about going to. It's a monologue about going to a Peter Pan show. Oh. And it is called Dentity Crisis. Dentity, like identity without the I. Dentity Crisis by Christopher Durang. Character is Jane. Pop it on the below, but it is fantastic. Just talking about like a really horrible experience. So when she went to the theater, it kind of all went wrong. Great. That was one of them. Definitely. I don't think I've ever done a monologue from TV or film though. It just doesn't work well as a monologue. I think I had to do one for a screen course. I did the one from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, where she's like, let me tell you how it's going to go, whatever, when she's going to tattoo like rapist on his forehead type thing. That scene. So Ted Mosby is interesting. It's a nice character to do.
Ted Mosby is one of those characters where it's like, I like him as a character, and I like him as his
an
overall. Actor? Like, yeah, I like the actor, but like if you really look at him as a person, you're like, man, Ted Mosby sucks. Like he's not a good guy. Like he's not a good friend. He's kind of an asshole to women. Like shit, I hated that I related to him for the longest time until I really took a deep dive into that show and realized like he's basically what's his name from Friends?
Ross?
Yeah, Ross. Because Ross is shit too.
Ross. Yeah.
Hate Ross.
Yeah.
Anywho, talking about Resident Evil.
This is a tangent, Tom. This is what
I was
we
going to
do
say,
here.
This is an unpopular opinion. I haven't watched either of those shows.
Mm-hmm. I would say.
Up. I can understand How I Met Your Mother because How I Met Your Mother, by the way, is a waste of your time. Don't watch it because the last season is terrible. No. I had to sit through that whole thing. The only person I stayed for was Barney.
We've had this conversation before. He is great in that show, though.
Just everybody else.
Mm.
But like, just mainly it's fine. The seasons, you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then like the season or the end season happens and you're like, what now? Anyway, but Friends, you've never seen Friends?
I've seen Friends. I've just never watched it. I've never watched it through, and it hasn't like held my attention. It's I'm more of like a Community, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like I watched Office.
Oh yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Never watch it again, just because it's not as funny. It's very much just like shock humor. Unlike Community, which is very much jokes.
Okay. Theatrical. In terms of like,
I grew up watching Seinfeld, and I felt like it was either one or the other.
Fair enough, actually. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I
That's
never
fine.
really
Seinfeld was
watched
excellent.
Friends actually until it came to Netflix a few years ago, and then I watched it. Because I also grew up watching Seinfeld because my dad watched Seinfeld. It was like the only show that was on, pretty much, because of that.
All of those shows, by the way, like Seinfeld, Frasier, Cheers, they were the best. I watched them when I was a teenager because before school, there was always 2 episodes on. It was Cheers and I think sometimes Friends, at like 7 and then 7:30. While I was getting dressed, I would always have them on, and like Cheers is just
Love a good
um,
laugh track.
good laugh track. Good laugh track. Start getting that on the show. No, don't do that. It's a terrible idea. I know you already know it's a terrible.
The Resident
Okay,
Evil.
are you actually gonna? Okay, Pagan's done. I was just making sure. I was waiting. Just hide in your cup. Okay, so yeah, Resident Evil. I had a couple of my own little titty bits on that episode, real quick, before I get really into it. There's a bit in the beginning where Troy was kind of like prodding Nolan and be like, "Oh, what else does this look like?" And he's like, "Doesn't it look a little Silent Hill-y?" And Nolan's like, "Yeah, it does kind of look like Silent Hill, but with better graphics." And Troy gave that really long like, and I'm like, "Troy, I will fight you." Resident Evil definitely had better graphics than Silent Hill. Like Silent Hill is probably the better horror experience, but it looks like shit compared to Resident Evil 2. And then the other aspect I was going to note was I was really loving, as a Resident Evil fan, I love the part where Troy read the quote from the game, and he was like, "Where'd this quote come from?" And Drew popped up with a little, "Oh, it's from the game." And Troy was like, "I don't believe you." Like, yeah, no shit. That I said it at the same time that Drew's comment came up, that like that quote was straight from the game.
Why was it so unbelievable?
Because it's just so ridiculous, but that's Capcom and Japanese developers.
All right, fair enough. Yep.
Like,
I
if you
assume
listen...
that-
Go ahead. I was just going to say, if you
Keep
listen
going.
back to that quote and you listen to the wording, the verbiage is very over the top and very dramatic, and you're just like, huh? Like, it's like, their fate has brought them together and the destiny of this nightmare kind of thing. And it's like,
Oh, I see.
you know, it's really over the top, and it's just, it was probably bad translation more than anything. What were you going to say, Tom?
I assumed they were going to start from the beginning where those words pop up, and then it would make sense.
Yeah.
But instead, they started from my checkpoint, which was starting inside the police station.
Ah, that's why. I was like, why? They tend to
Yeah,
do
we
that.
were
if
watching it too. We're
They've
like,
done that with Drew's games too, where they just start up like a checkpoint of Drew's.
Well, to be fair, when I was playing Resident Evil 2, like to test it, it took me way too long to get to the police station, just because the controls for original Resident Evil suck. The tank controls are so horrible, and it took me a good 15 minutes to be like, forward.
oh, okay.
See, now it's funny is I've been playing Resident Evil forever. Like, it's one of my longest played games, and I've been recently making my girlfriend Brandy play Resident Evil 1 on stream. And if you watch our streams, I'm telling her how to play, and I'm explaining the tank controls, just like Troy kind of was in that episode. And I'm like, it's just like, you're just like driving a tank. And she was like, I don't know how to drive a tank. Like, yeah, it's just up is forward, and then you turn left and right. Like, well, how hard is it?
Yeah.
Very, actually, very.
I've been doing it for so long; it's just second nature, though. Like, I don't even think about it anymore.
Well, once it clicks, it clicks.
Right, exactly.
It's like when I played Grim Fandango a few years ago. You could play the tank controls on that. I never played it originally, and you had to play it for the platinum and everything. Being a completionist, I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I was like, this is the worst decision I've ever. Terrible.
Have you played Resident Evils?
I've only played the remake, actually.
Okay, not the
Resident
originals.
Evil 5, actually, I think was the one I played.
Okay.
No, I was terrible at it.
Wait, is that the one with the in Africa?
Yes.
I've played that game. I have played that game. I used to play it as co-op.
Mm-hmm.
My boyfriend's brother, well, my fiance's brother now, but yeah. Ah, okay.
She's like, I can relate.
I have Resident Evil experience, and I played the
ages.
first 5 minutes of Resident Evil 7, and I was like, nope, out. Excuse me, goodbye. Thank you. Take care.
It took me ages to get used to the fact that you can't shoot and move at the same time. And I was like, this is not normal to me. I've not played a
have to
game like this
stop, yeah.
before, and I'm like, no, it's like coming at me. What am I supposed to do? But I eventually got the hang of it, completed it, but it took a while. Not for me though, I don't think.
I love those games. I don't know why. I'm just a sucker for them. Anyways, for anyone out there who doesn't know what Resident Evil is, I've got a little bit of a breakdown. It's basically the plot. I don't know if Troy really got all of it out there. But anyways, Resident Evil 2 is a survival horror game developed and published by Capcom for the PlayStation in 1998. Man, I've been playing that game for a long time. The player controls Leon S. Kennedy or Claire Redfield. That's those two peeps right there that I have on my wall, who must escape Raccoon City after its citizens have been transformed into zombies by a biological weapon 2 months after the events of the original Resident Evil. The gameplay focuses on exploration, puzzles, and combat. And the main difference is the branching paths, because you get to play as two characters in both the first game and the second game, but in the original game, they didn't really have branching paths. It basically was difficulty more than anything. If you played as Jill versus Chris, it was kind of easier or harder because one character had more inventory space than the other and a lockpick. And have I lost anyone yet?
Yeah.
Here's another little peek behind the curtain. I write all the plot.
Do you really?
So I like the reason why there's not like everything in there is for Another World. I wrote like a 2-page summary of the plot, and I got the notes like make it smaller, put it into like 2 paragraphs, and then like when Troy is reading through it, he just ripping it to shreds. So I was like, I'm going to make it digestible. I'm going to make it fun for them to read, so they get the gist of it. Because that's the plot.
Otherwise, the whole episode is basically the plot. Just Troy reading the plot, and that's it. Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
It's just like the page just scrolling up while Troy's reading
It's like most of the times, like with retro games, the plot is in the game manual, and it is hilarious, like what they put in there. So for Another World, they had the most complex like game manual plot in it, and I just try to put it all down to the point where they're like so specific. It's like, and his soda spilled, and then lightning, and I'm just like, this means nothing.
It made for hilarious, this entertaining value though when Troy was trying to digest all that. Like, what the hell?
I would agree. Actually, I think that was probably one of the better plots.
Wait,
there you go.
True.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, friend.
Don't worry, you're down here. Thank you.
I think so.
She
There
is
you go. Thanks,
below
buddy.
you, Tom. So you guys can do like the little like he. Oh.
That looked so wrong.
Just petting.
Moving swiftly on.
Pivot.
Pivot.
Yeah, I mean, we don't always try to do like a plot per se on the show. We try to like give more of the general information of the game, especially when the guys don't always go down to the nitty gritty of it. Sometimes they do, but not usually. But we like being like a little bit more focused on the game. Sometimes we don't do it at all. Sometimes we just forget entirely. But what the hell? Resident Evil 2 is one of my favorite games, so I had to. As much as you have no idea what I'm talking about.
That's okay, friend.
Well, when they play whatever your favorite game is, I'll listen.
Oh, I don't think I have one.
I thought you did.
Sure.
Anywho, did
What
you
is my
guys
life?
have any other thoughts, opinions, or fun facts from that episode? I'm just wondering.
Like, what can I legally say? Like checking contracts or something.
I'm
like,
mostly trying to give Jacob a window to chime in.
Yeah, Jack. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Jack.
Sorry, I'm sorry if I'm being really quiet in this episode. I've mostly just been. It's like I'm actually just listening.
It's okay if you're just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. And then what happened?
Like enjoying.
How interesting.
Like, yeah, I'm kind of like that anyway. But no, I think I've completely forgotten what I was.
That's all right. You've not played. You haven't played the original Resident Evils. Did you say that? I know you said the last one that you played is 5. Have you played the remasters?
Actually, yeah, I played I played the first one. I bought it back on
the GameCube. Well, they remade it on the GameCube, then it got ported to PS4.
That was it. And I played it on the PS4 then. I never got around to finishing it because, again, I was terrible at the game.
And you can't move and shoot in that one.
Exactly, yeah. I can't do that. I need to multitask in games. I need to be able to move. No, I think the first one was the one with the terrible voice acting.
Yes.
You were almost a
Even
Jill
I know that one.
Sandwich, that one. That's the main thing I remember from playing the game, actually.
Not
It's
only
just,
was there the
I'm just
terrible
like,
dialogue, but there was the talking with the hands because they couldn't animate the faces.
oh,
So,
true.
so
Oh
all
yeah,
the
the block
characters were
faces.
like, Jill, you are the master of unlocking.
It's like
Take
Thunderbirds
this,
sort of moving
a
around.
lockpick. It'll be useful. This is very fresh in my head because I was just streaming Resident Evil 1.
Yeah.
Something you think about every night.
We don't know. It could be Tom.
I was just
Who
thinking of
knows?
zombies. That's all. His head is full of zombies.
Zombies. I love the zombies.
Yeah, the zombie. But just
They're scary. Yeah, Pagan doesn't do those. Yeah, so I guess if no one else has any other thoughts on the Resident Evil 2 episode, which I very much enjoyed, but I'm not going to be the only one talking about it, so I might move
I mean,
on.
like, I enjoyed it. I want to take Troy on a roller coaster.
You know what? I thought the same thing. When they were talking about the fact that he doesn't go on roller coasters and stuff like that because it's the fear, and I was like, oh, I do it. Like I love roller coasters.
I mean, like, I am also like afraid of most roller coasters. Anything that is a giant drop, I cannot do.
Okay.
But most of like anything, because we're in LA, like at the Universal Studios or in Disney, they're not real roller coasters. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Really?
they're like, they aren't extreme. Like there's the Harry Potter ones, which are mostly like 4D.
Cool.
Is it like the ones where like they're the seats inside of a studio and then the seats just kind of lift up and then wiggle around and stuff?
Yeah, some of them. The Harry Potter one is like half a roller coaster where you sit there and it's like swinging you around as you look at different projectors.
Yeah.
Cool.
A lot of fun.
I did the Simpsons ride like that at Universal Studios.
Yeah, the Simpsons ride is a weird one where it has like a bunch of warnings, like this is horrible, and then you get on it and it shakes you around a little bit. But at any point I can get back to LA. Hopefully, I'll be able to.
Yeah, convince him on it.
Yes.
Take video footage. We need the evidence.
I'm with Troy on that.
All
no
content.
roller coasters for me.
Really, Jack?
Well, as I said earlier with the VR thing, motion sickness is the main thing. But I'm with Troy with the fear as well. It's like the combination of the two. So that it's like I'll be scared and then throwing up. So that's pretty.
Can you not play first-person games with the motion sickness?
Varies in games. I can play. Like I say, I was playing Destiny 2. Problem can play that for hours. Problem. But then Battlefield games, bring to the cameras like going like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
the head
no,
bob.
I can't do this. Yeah.
I would kind of agree with that only because like I don't get motion sickness at games like that only when it doesn't have something to ground you or it's not like you're expecting. So like when you're running in kind of thing, or if you're in Skyrim VR and you're like turning and stuff like that where it goes black and stuff, that kills me. But if you're on like a roller coaster in Rush of Blood, or if you're going to solve puzzles in one of those other games that they were playing right now, many of the games that like I really like Super Hot. That doesn't give full, but the Star Wars one, anti-gravity and that, and you can ever knock me out. But normal roller coasters, I did. I went to Busch Gardens once. I think. God, Greg. Like, yes, Pagan. I don't know. It could be in Canada. I don't know. I went to Busch Gardens and I went on the roller coasters and there was nobody there because it was during American school time. So myself and my brother would just like get on a roller coaster, get off, and be like, "Let's do that again!" And then we just turn around and do the same thing. It was so good. It was awesome.
I was to say the only game that ever gave me motion sickness like really bad was Sea of Thieves. That game hit me hard. Have you ever played Sea of Thieves? It was an Xbox exclusive pirate game, but it's in first person, and you could like get out on your boat, and it's got very it's cartoony graphics, but it's very realistic, like water and wave effects. And you get out there and your boat is just kind of like doing this, and I'm like playing on my 55-inch 4K TV, like.
Oh no!
You got seasick from the game.
Yeah, and I've been on a boat. Like I was in the military. I've been on boats out to sea, and I got seasick from playing the video game.
Yeah, no.
I'm pretty sure he's pretty public about like his opinion on that.
Yeah, I think so too. Like I think like after that episode aired, though, I think there was an article on something, and they were like, Nolan North shares his opinions about the movie and like doesn't like them, and I was like, pretty sure he's said this before on Twitter like a lot of times. Yeah, it's more this whole Mark Wahlberg casting thing. Everybody's got like their backup about, be like, oh, is that the right choice? But you know what? I will go see the movie probably, but
as long as it's not like the Avatar Last Airbender movie, like.
Well, there's a big difference between like what The Last of Us is doing, where it has like Neil Druckmann on it, and it's like the creator Craig Martz, I think his name is, the guy from Chernobyl.
Yeah.
He's a fan of the game, and it's like pitched it to, I think they said it in episode. Like Craig pitched it to Neil, and it's like, yep, that's exactly it.
Tell that to M. Night Shyamalan, who claimed to be a fan of Avatar, and then he made the terrible movie.
He was watching the other Avatar, like the movie.
Yeah.
But Uncharted just seems like the property was bought, and it's like we're gonna make a movie of it. Kind of like the Metal Gear movie that's like been in development for forever.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it sounds like they're not fans of the franchise. They're like, hey, let's make some money and make this.
Well, it's like they hear the pitch of like, oh, it's Indiana Jones, but not. So it's like, we'll make Indiana Jones movie.
That's true.
It's Die Hard, but with Indiana Jones.
That sounds like a great movie.
Yeah.
It actually does. I would see that.
I would watch that.
The last thing I can say about that episode is I'm happy that they did play the remake of Resident Evil 2 and gave us that little bit of a contrast, because I don't think we're ever going to see them play the remake of Resident Evil 2 any other way, shape, or form. I was confused at how it had them kind of like start like a good few hours into the game. Was that you're doing, Tom, too?
That was Drew. Drew, since it's on PS4, we just used Drew's console. But I liked it because it showed like not a direct comparison, but it's like, here's something at the beginning, here's something a little farther on. So it's like they have a little more stuff to do.
Very true. I just thought it was odd that it was like jumping right into that first tyrant battle, and they like had no idea what the hell they were doing.
I thought it was fun. I gave them a challenge.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's like I try to, when I like test the games, I try to give them like different save points so they can like jump around. Like with Half-Life, they didn't jump to it, but I had a save where they had like the gravity gun, like more of the weapons. They were just like they were doing their own thing.
Yeah, so that way, I mean, for some games, that way they don't have to sit there for X amount of hours getting to that point, and then you're just filming, and then cutting out a bunch of stuff. Much like we try to do on this podcast.
Much like we do, yeah.
We just like to put it in raw.
Nice.
All right, then. Well, I think that just about wraps it up. We've gone a little long, which I kind of expected this week, considering, we had our special little voice message from Drew. We have Tom on the show, not to make you special or nothing, Tom. We've got Jack on the show. Hello.
What? Jack? We love having you here.
Jack. Anyways. Moving on.
I'm a mere peasant. I'm a mere fan. I don't work on the show.
But we're
all
here for
mere
you
peasants.
Guys. Shut up, Pagan. They're not supposed to know.
Just nerds. Nerdy peasants.
We'll move on to the end of the show now, where you guys get a chance to share a little bit of yourselves as far as, is there anything you're working on, anything you want to promote? Even if it's just your Twitter profile. If you have nothing, that's fine. Do whatever you like. Let's start with Tom on this one. Tom, you got anything you want to put out there and share?
One of the only things is like I have seen the Sonic movie. So
yes.
There you go. I am the first one. I saw it opening day.
Nice.
Hey.
Why didn't you tell me this sooner so we could have spent the entire podcast talking about Sonic?
Because I assume I'll be
Because-
invited back to talk about Sonic.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Fine.
Side
How
quest.
dare you presume you'll be invited back?
How dare you,
It's
sir?
okay. You do not have to. And then my Twitter profile, which I can never remember my name, is just Tbrex. I'm sure you can put it in the description
We'll
or something.
pop
We
it in.
will. For sure.
And then the only thing I can promote is Retro Replay or Funhouse.
Hey, what's Retro Replay?
I don't know. Funhouse I can tell you about.
Oh yeah, Funhouse is great.
Awesome.
Do
So
you-
what?
Retro Replay.
Do you do something for Funhouse?
Avid fan.
Okay. You're just like, hey, go watch Funhouse.
Sure. Retro
Yeah.
Replay, pretty good.
Good
Okay.
stuff.
You can see me there every once in a while.
All right. Well, we'll have to do a side quest episode that I'd say that a lot, but we never end up doing it. But maybe for Sonic, we will.
You could. You don't know. You could.
Okay. Have a little one-on-one with Tom, but
Talk
Sonic.
about Sonic. I have
Just
I have thoughts.
thoughts. That makes me
Good one.
feel.
I'd listen to that.
No. I'll start. I liked it,
Okay.
Okay.
but I still have
I
thoughts.
was hoping there's going to be a video of just him ranting like,
Yeah.
No. I would
Sonic sucks.
I'll have to tell Bethany to watch it and then come on and the three of us will talk. And I'm sure Bethany will be like, "Oh, like, no offense, Bethany, I love you." I'm just presuming nonsense just to be funny. Anyways, Jack, do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
I don't have anything to promote, but sort of on a personal news basis. Working on auditioning for VO work now, probably getting into it.
Yes.
Good for you.
I'm trying to get a sort of a little bit of a setup going, not this that I've got here, but I've been auditioning for a few different things. No work as yet, but I've only been auditioning for like a month. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're gonna get some. There's like a course in voiceovers, coaching people
Nice.
who are in the industry. So hopefully somewhere.
Do you know about Michael's
think-
project with the Replayer Theater?
I don't actually.
Okay, we'll have
Oh,
to
well,
talk
this is a
about that
good
because
time.
Michael's
Yeah.
doing a Replayer Theater project and he's doing auditions with replayers.
Oh, actually, yeah, I have seen that. Is that I've seen him on Facebook.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I've seen-
the
yeah, on
radio
Facebook
theater.
group.
Yep.
Yeah. Pop in.
Yeah, that could be good actually.
I know
Good-
he's
good
extended the
shout.
auditions for another day. If you can
Okay.
try and get him in.
2 days. I think it's till the 8th.
Did he? Okay. Either way, all good. So
I'll give that a look.
good stuff. Yeah, happy for you, man. We're kind of all in the same boat here. Obviously,
Hmm.
Pagan's a little bit of a working actor. She got some stuff under her feet.
She's the pro here. She's the pro.
You can watch the first beginning 5 minutes of an episode of Penny Dreadful and see her acting.
First 5 minutes, the first 30 seconds.
Then it zooms into her
My
mouth.
claim to fame. I was also in Vikings for 2 days, except that I ended up on the cutting room floor.
Mm.
But I still
You
got
should-
paid for 2 days, and I still got the IMDb credit. So
Yeah, right. Suck it.
yeah. So oh gosh.
Good stuff. Good
Oh,
stuff.
sorry. Want me to?
Oh yeah, if you want to, share your things, you can, or we can just cut it.
Okay,
and
sure.
Move on.
You can find me at Pagan_plays on Instagram or on Twitch, where I'm streaming back now to my normal schedule on Tuesday and Thursday night. So come out and hang. And Twitter is at AppleEyes2. We'll pop it in the show notes below, or you can Google Pagan Plays on Twitter, and you'll see
You just mashed up your two things.
Pagan Eyes.
Pagan eyes.
I feel like
Change-
that's like
change
a
Twitter
threat.
handle.
Paganize,
I'm
yeah.
gonna paganize you tomorrow. You know what I mean? So probably not a good name. Yeah, that's probably it. Pagan Plays on the Retro Replay chat on YouTube. No YouTube videos as of yet, really. But they are working. There's stuff in the works. So yeah. Some exciting stuff coming up.
Cool. I look forward to
Cool.
it. Cool. As always, you can find me on most platforms. I am Stark Evil Vash on Xbox, PlayStation, Twitch, blah blah blah, all those things. I'm now going to give my Twitter profile, which I thought of earlier that we have a inside joke with my Twitter handle as a Jim Carrey reference to the
Yes.
podcast that we had 2 weeks ago about Jim Carrey, and we didn't acknowledge the fact that we make a Jim Carrey joke reference every time. It is Stark Evash, STARK Hawaii VASH. That is a mask reference.
Just in case you didn't get it, replayers.
Just in case you didn't understand.
haven't seen that
I
movie
do
in so
stream
long.
So
from time to time. Try to hold a schedule. It's been not going so well. But I have been streaming Resident Evil 3 the last 2 days, and I'm having fun. It's good. I like it. You should play it. It's not
good.
as scary. It's not super scary. It is really gross, though. Like,
Not
even,
as scary.
it's not as
Speak
scary.
for yourself, dead inside Dan.
I did get some spooks. There's some spooks. You see some heart. There's a little, like, grinchy little...
You need a heart monitor when you're playing these games. When you're streaming, you need a heart monitor, and I need to see that on the screen.
Maybe
That
one
will
day.
prove to
I
me
mean,
you're
I have
not
an
dead
Apple
inside.
Watch. I don't know if I can, like, get that
You can
displayed
look
on
it
the
up.
screen.
I'm sure there's a way.
His heart rate will
There's a
go
way.
up to like 61 beats per minute. when it
Yeah,
gets intense.
exactly.
Oh.
From like resting 45 or something. So
There was a zombie that
Is he
jumped out of a
dead? Meh,
car and
practically.
spooked me, so...
Ooh,
But it's really
62.
gross. There's a lot of gross stuff in it that makes me like... which is interesting. I can say as a fan of the series, it's nothing like the original Resident Evil 3, and that's kind of a good thing. It's kind of a good thing. It's nothing like the original. Anyways, we've been going on for a long time, all the tangents. I think it's time we wrap it up and give our last little goodbyes. So, lastly, if anyone is looking to follow the Replayer Podcast, we are on Facebook. You can check us out there. That's where you can see notifications that we're uploading the show. And I just want to give a last little shout out to Drew. Thank you for your message.
Yes,
Maybe
thank
we'll
you.
get one from others. Thank you, Nolan, Troy, PJ, and Stephanie. Right? Is that editor?
Stephanie and Tom.
And all your hard work,
And
Tom.
Paul.
I mean, I'm gonna thank Tom anyways, because he's here to
Sorry.
talk to us. Because without you guys,
That's
we wouldn't
right.
have this show, and we got a personal.
I
thank
know
you
who
from
that guy
Drew.
is. I didn't know that.
Oh my
I
god.
don't
How is it already
know.
clicking with me now?
If you want to leave us a voicemail like Drew, he actually emailed it to us at thereplayerpodcast@gmail.com, or you can click a link that appears in the little show notes on the podcast version of the show, and you can leave a little message for us to say whatever the hell you want, or you can be sweet like Drew. Please go ahead and like, subscribe, rate, and review our podcast, as it means very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. Lastly, thank you, Jack. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, guys.
Guys,
Thanks,
super
Pagan.
lovely to have
Thanks,
you here.
It's been fun.
Sorry being
Great.
quiet.
You haven't
alright,
been.
man.
Don't you
I
worry.
can't blame
you
you for
think
just
that
being
until you
like,
listen to
"Oh."
it back. I'm telling you.
And then you're going to be like, I never shut up. What the hell?
Probably, yeah.
And with that, guys, everyone, thank you so much. Game over, folks. Good night.
Bye.
And then-